What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. This is our watch list for Monday, December 5th. I send these watch lists out for you guys for free every single day. So make sure you're clicking on that subscribe button and hitting that bell. That bell is the important part. That sends you the notifications for when I send you these videos for free every single day. So we go through these watch lists. I give you guys the setups that I see throughout the day, where we can trigger, where we can target. So we're going to get into that in 2 seconds. I'm on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can give me a follow there. If you have questions, comments, concerns, you can leave them down below, or you can leave them in the Discord. I have a Griswold Trading Discord. That link is in the description below. And everything that I offer you guys free or fee-based can be found in that Discord, so go check that out. 95% of it is free. There is a pay room in there. That's the Griswold Gold members. And that gets you a bunch of different things. It gets you the top 5 plays from this list every single day that we go through. So those get the Griswold Gold members get those top 5s. You get live trading bots that give you live trade setups throughout the day on the 5, 15, 30, and 1 hour charts. There's a spy bot, and then there is another bot that gives out tickers like QQQ, DIA, NEO, Disney, CCL, and a bunch of other ones. So that's part of the Griswold Gold membership. I give one-on-ones as part of that membership. So you and me talking directly, answering your questions. And then there's also a 1 hour Strat course in that private part of the Discord as part of the Griswold Gold members. So go check that out and everything that's included. The last thing we're going to go through, the screen that you see here, guys, this is TradingView. It's how I chart everything that I show you guys. If you are looking for a platform like this, in the description below, there's a link. That link gives you a free 30-day trial to their subscription-based services. And then if you decide to use one of those sub-services, you get up to $30 off of that sub-service. But you need to start by clicking on that link down below. That will get you your free 30-day trial. Make sure you guys check that out and take advantage of that offer. Let's go through the playlist here, guys. The watch list. The first one I've got on is SPY. So I want to tell you guys this right off the bat. A lot of the setups that we have today are these 2 down greens. Now, a lot of times when we see that, I don't want you guys to be too over optimistic thinking everything's going green on Monday, okay? Because that's not necessarily the case. So when we look at trading, and I really want to hammer this home to you guys because it's something that I missed when I first started. And it's very important. So every trade you guys take, every strategy you look at, whether it's this one that we're teaching here or a completely different strategy using EMA crossovers or VWAP or whatever you want, every strategy is based off of probability and how probable a trade is. And when we look at our strategy and we look at the setups that we're showing you, those are high probability setups. Now, do they work all the time? No. But it's a high probability of it working out. And I like to explain this as if you look at like a roulette wheel and you hit black 10 times in a row, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at black hitting 10 times in a row and we're playing red. Okay? Because we are going to hit red more often than not if we've hit 10 black in a row. But every once in a while you'll get that 11th black. Okay? If that makes sense to you guys. So there's high probability plays, but they don't always work out. Nothing's 100% in the market because realistically, we don't know what this next candle is going to be. We can say, yes, we finished 2 down with a green, 2 down green, and that's a high probability play to go back to the upside, but it's very well likely it could go to the downside and be a 2-2 continuation. And that's where the probability is. So we don't jump into this early. We wait for it to trigger. We wait for it to hit targets. We manage our trades and we risk manage. Because the best traders, guys, again, this is another important part. Probability and risk management. The best traders have the best risk management. They cut their losers and they let their winners run. And that's a 180 of what most traders do, where they cut their winners and they let their losers run, hoping that it comes back to the top. Now that I had my rant, we'll talk about SPY here. SPY 2 down green. We're going to look for triggers at 407.86, first target at 410, and that target is always just the top of the preceding wick. Unless we're looking at puts, then the target would be down here at the bottom of the preceding wick. So we're 2 down green, looking for a call or looking for SPY to trend to the upside. Now the quarterly is green, but this is the thing, and Rob Smith always says, let them open up. Because again, this hourly, this daily, and this weekly are all going to be brand new when we open up. So this is time frame continuity. These are the hourly charts, the daily charts, and the weekly charts. So when Monday opens, it's a new hour, it's a new day, and it's a new week. And we very well could trend down, and we've got full time frame continuity outside of the quarterly to the downside. So that's why I'm saying a lot of these plays are 2 down green. I want you guys to be very, very cautious of how these plays will set up and play out on Monday. So we'll go through them anyways, and then we'll go from there. So SPY, we're looking for calls at 407.86. American Airlines, same thing again. And again, most of these setups are going to be very, very similar. 2 down green, hammer candle. I'm going to move this target to the top. And you notice those 2 pink lines, guys. Those 2 pink lines represent the weekly candle. So I have a weekly swing video. I will put that at the end of this one. Make sure you guys check it out. So currently we sit on an inside bar on the weekly. So we take the breaks of the high or the low of the weekly. But if we go to the daily, we're looking to also break that weekly trigger to go 2 up or 2 down. And again, we are closer to going 2 down on the week than we are 2 up. So it's very possible that we trend down off of this candle and not up. And that's why I'm saying, again, be very, very cautious when everything is showing that we should be trending up. Be cautious. Okay? Just look, make sure you're not jumping into those plays early, or if we do jump in and it reverses, make sure you're out of that trade, cutting your losses. Airbnb is up next. Same thing. Airbnb, 2 down green. We're going to look for calls on Airbnb at 101.74. Adobe, 2 down green. And calls at 343.53. We'll move on to Amazon. Amazon has, again, I think Amazon should probably not be on here. We're going to take Amazon off. We'll take Amazon off. BA. BA has an outside bar. We're going to take BA off of there. Comcast, CMCSA, 2 down green. We're going to look for calls at 36.09. And again, remember when I said you look for the target becomes the high of the preceding wick? Well, when we have this gap, see how there's no candle here between this one and this one? We gap down. When there's no gap, the first target becomes that gap fill. So it's the bottom of the wick. And that's the only time that we use the bottom of the candles when we're trending up. So first target, second target, calls at 36.09 on CMCSA. If you guys have questions, make sure you're leaving them down below. And we'll move on to EW. Edwards Life Sciences, 2 down green. Same thing. We have this little gap play. Okay, so 2 down green, targets at 76.98, or sorry, trigger at 76.98, first target at 77.04. We move on to Ford Motor Company, 2 down green. Looking for calls at 13.97, first target at $14. I want to go over something real quick with you guys. I don't really like it when these targets are so close. I like to see a little bit more room there. And what I mean by that, like let's say this is our candle here opening Monday, and we trigger and we target, okay? A lot of times what happens is we hit that target and then we start reversing and come back through the other way, and we'll never see that target ever again. And I've explained this multiple times in multiple videos. Here's one, for example, right here. We triggered, we hit targets, one target, and it reversed. We never came back to that target again. Now, there was a little bit more meat on that bone than there is here, but it's the same theory. If you're hitting targets and it reverses through that target, make sure you guys are taking your profit off of that. IWM, 2 down green. We're going to look for calls on IWM at 188.86. JP Morgan, JPM, 2 down green. Hammer candle, calls at 135.35. First target, 135.43. So only an 8-cent difference. And again, same thing. Watch for, just be cautious. I'm not saying that this can't run higher than that target, but be very, very cautious if it reverses through that you guys just take your profits. MU is Micron Technology, 2 down green. We'll look for calls at 55.42. First target marked out. Uber 2 down green, we'll look for calls at 28.78. First target marked out at 29.60. That's good magnitude on Uber. Walmart. Walmart has an inside bar. It's actually a 3-1 setup. And you see how there's the yellow bars and the white bars. That's part of the indicator I created for you guys. You can buy it separately with the link below, or it comes part of the Griswold Gold membership, which is a way better deal than buying any of this stuff as a single piece. There's a few things here on Walmart. So number one, we've got an inside bar. And inside bars do not break the high or the low of the previous candle. Or it's also called a 1 bar when we're dealing with the strat. That's a strategy we're discussing here. Inside bar, yellow candle. Outside bar is a 3 bar, breaks the high and the low of the previous candle. That's marked out in white, also part of the indicator I created for you guys. So when we have the inside bar, the 3-1 we can look at as well. This yellow highlight, also part of my indicator, lets you know, so when you go back in time, it's easy to spot. We look for the last 3-1 setup, and they're not very common, guys. They're very rare, but they tend to do very well. It's a high probability play. And I have to go way, how far are we going back? All the way back to July of 21. So we'll zoom in, and we can look at how the past 3-1 bars performed. And it's not 100%, guys, but if we look to see what happens, here's the last outside bar, inside bar we had, okay, and we triggered, and we hit targets, multiple targets. A really good run. This outside bar, inside bar, triggered and hit targets, and we actually ran for 2 days. That was a really nice run. So probabilities tell us that these plays are very powerful, and they work really well. So the one thing we have is that 3-1 setup. The second thing we have is the inside bar. So even on a single inside bar, we look for the big breaks off of that inside bar, because these inside bars are telling us they're consolidating. It's a tightening range. And I try and explain it to you guys, I have recently, like this. If you guys know what a broadening formation is, this is basically an inversed broadening formation. And you can call it a flag, whatever you want. But it's a tightening range. And when we get into this range, it's getting squeezed. And when you squeeze something or compact something or put pressure on something like a spring, and that's why I always say when you see those yellow bars, think of it as a spring. It's getting squeezed and tightened and compacted and pressured. And when you let go of it, it explodes to one direction or the other. And that's really what we're looking for off of these inside bars. And that's why I tell people, if you're new or you're struggling, focus on those inside bars. And with the strat indicator that I created, they're easy to see for you guys. So there's those two things. Those two things, the 3-1 setup and the inside bar itself. The next thing, we have time frame continuity on our side across the board. Now again, like we talked about, the hourly, the daily, and the weekly are all going to be new when we open up, but everything else is showing us green currently. So I would look for calls here more than anything at 153.24. First target's 153.61, but puts are still probable at 151.48 on this Walmart setup. We'll move on to XLU. XLU, a 2 down green again. Like I said, that's mostly what you're going to see here. We've got calls at 71.22. I'm going to mark this out and then change the color for you guys. There is our first target, and my targets are always marked out in green. So there's XLU. We move on to BAC. BAC, 2 down green. That's Bank of America. We're going to look for calls on BAC at 36.29, and first target is that gap fill at 36.40. We move on to Apple. Apple's very interesting. So Apple's got a 2 down green. We've also got this pink line. So on the daily, we can look for calls at 148. Our first target is the trigger for the weekly. So if we look at the weekly, we have a 2 down green on the weekly that's a hammer candle. So if we trigger and hit targets on Monday, we can possibly look at a little bit of a longer swing play. Now, we get even deeper into this and we go to the 2-week on Apple. And I'll go through this in the weekly chart, but now we've got a double inside bar on the 2-week chart, which becomes really interesting for us, because now we've got targets here, and I'm just going to put this on here so we can see when we hop back to the weekly. We've got targets there to the upside, and again, if we trigger the day, which is right here, and we hit targets, we've just triggered the week. If we trigger the week, our first target is up here, which is our trigger for the 2-week chart. So you see, it tends to be a domino effect, guys. The day triggers the week, triggers the 2 week, triggers something else. And that's how we can get into a play and possibly stay in a play a little longer. So Apple will be an interesting play come next week on Monday. AMC, I'm still on the weekly there. If we hop down to the daily, AMC's got an inside bar. We just talked about the inside bars, so we know all about them. Calls at 863, puts at 792 on AMC. Moving on here, we'll go to Bed Bath & Beyond with the inside bar. And again, guys, all we have to do is go back and look in time. Inside bar right here, boom, look at that run up. Inside bar here, we gapped, but we had the big run down. Inside bar here, boom, all the way up through targets. And this is the why I tell you guys. Look, here's another one. Inside bar, boom, through 2 targets. Hey, let's find one more here. Inside bar, huge gap down. But it was that explosion that we were looking for, and it happened only off a gap. Here's another one. Okay, inside bar, we gapped all the way up here. But again, we had that big explosion off of that inside bar. If you don't know how to play the gaps, I'm going to show you guys a video at the end of this one. Make sure you check that video series out. It'll show you how to play the setups when we gap in the morning, up or down. So we look at those inside bars, guys, that's what we're looking for. And does it always happen that way? No, it doesn't. But again, we come back to the probability, and every trade is probability based, and these are high probability plays. So calls at 373, puts at 337 on Bed Bath & Beyond. CCL is Carnival Cruise Lines, 2 down green. Hammer candle will look for calls at 10:04, first target at 10:29. CRM, tight little inside bar here. So we can look for calls at 145.21, puts at 142.78. We can mark the targets out together. There's one. The second one is that gap fill like we talked about. And then the first target to the bottom side right there at 142.08 on CRM. 2 down green on the Dow Jones. Calls at 345.41. First target right there, 346.75 on the diamonds. Cisco, 2 down green. Calls at 49.84. First target together, $50.46 on Cisco. DraftKings, DKNG, inside bar. This is going to be one of my, probably on my top 5, just to give you guys a heads up. So DraftKings has calls at 15.53, first target at 15.76. So we are an inside bar. I haven't even looked at this. The low here is 14.90. You see this L right here? That's telling me the low of this candle, 14.90. If I move over, low again. It doesn't move. Stays at 14.90. So we are exactly the same, so I can't obviously use this target here. If we trend down, our first target goes to 14.42. We do have really good time frame currently. We'll see how we get on what we get on Monday, but we can look for calls at 15.53, puts at 14.90, and then I don't know if there was a play on the weekly. Weekly, we're already 2 up, but if you go to the 2 week bar, we've got that hammer candle again on that inside bar 2 week. So again, if we trigger the day and hit first targets, we just triggered the 2 week setup, okay? So a domino effect again on DraftKings. We go to DocuSign, 2 down green on Docu, calls at 47.12, first target there at 49.60 on DocuSign. The Google machine, 2 down green, calls at 101.15 on Google. IBM, 2 down, actually inside bar, on IBM. So calls, we can look at 149.16. And again, that first target is the trigger to go 2 up on the week as well. So again, IBM is something we want to look at to trigger the day, trigger the week. Puts are also possible at 147.73 and first targets at 147.34. Lift, 2 down green, hammer candle. Calls at $11.10. We're going to move that out of the way. First target at $11.58 on Lift. Moderna, inside bar on mRNA, good time frame. We can look for calls at 182.80, puts at 177. First target to the bottom marked out. We can mark out that first target to the top at 185.90. NVIDIA, 2 down green hammer candle. And a hammer candle, guys, or an inside bar candle, those are both actionable strat signals. The other one is a shooter candle. So a shooter candle is the opposite of what you see here or here, where you have the big body at the bottom and a big long wick to the top. So it's an inverse hammer or a shooter candle. So calls at 169.33 and first targets marked out for us on NVIDIA. We go to Oracle. Oracle's got that inside bar, actionable signal. Calls at 83.62, puts at 82.58. Pinterest, here's that shooter candle, okay? Inside bar, shooter candle. If we trend to the downside, we've got everything, all time frame continuity on our side outside of that quarterly. So we can look for puts on this at 24.71 or calls at 25.52. I'd like to see puts there. Inside bar on Palantir, calls 7.76, puts 7.50. Plug Power, inside bar again. So calls at 16.02, puts at $15.32 on Plug. QQQ, similar to SPY. We had that 2 down green. We're going to look for calls here at 293.45. But again, just be very cautious. The market does what it wants. We may see a downturn on Monday. Inside bar on Space, calls 5.17, puts 5.01. Target. Target had a 2 down green. We're going to look for calls at 164.86. First target at 167.43. XLV has a 2 down green. We can look for calls on that one at 139.97. And again, be cautious of this. That's our first target. Not saying we can't blow through that 19 cents later, but just be cautious if we do and it trends back through, that you're taking your profits. And I don't care if your profit is 5% or 500% on plays, guys. When the candles tell you to get out, get out. And I don't care if it runs after, because if it runs to the downside and you lose even more, you're going to be kicking yourself. And again, we come back to it. The best traders are the best risk managers. They cut the loss regardless of whether it takes off afterwards. Doesn't matter. Okay, you get in on the next one. Your job is to preserve your capital. Okay, I don't want to tell you to go into a trade thinking you're going to lose, but when you win, let those winners run. And if it loses, cut the loss. That's the easiest way that I can explain it, and I know it's easier said than done. It is a difficult thing. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But your emotions play a big part of that, and it's something that with time should come and be something that's easier for you guys to manage, but it comes with time. We go to Lucid. Lucid has a 2 down green, so we're going to look for calls at 10.16, but we also are looking for a 2 up on the week. That's that pink line. So if we hit second targets, we just went 2 up on the week on Lucid. Guys, if you found this stuff helpful, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. If it's helping you out, please comment down below. Ask me questions. I want to help you guys out. Get in on the Discord. And again, at the end of this video, I will put a video for the weekly swing list for you guys. We'll go through the weeklies and a little bit of the 2-week setups. And then I'm also going to put a gap playlist on there for you guys. So if we gap up in the morning or gap down in the morning, you guys know exactly what to do. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great Trading Monday. Get in on the Discord. Get your free 30-day trial to TradingView. And we will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.